Cold War, communism versus capitalism, dictatorships. These are topics that intrigue you. Albania went through 40 years of communist dictatorship under the Enver Hoxha regime. Today, you are looking for his legacy. In 1939, the army of fascist Italy invaded Albania. But during World War II, guerrillas fought back against the Italians, and once they were victorious, the Labour Party of Albania took control of the country, which became governed by Enver Hoxha, a fighter of the Albanian National Liberation Front. Hoxha ruled for 4 decades in what was the People's Socialist Republic of Albania. Despite being initially influenced by the Soviet Union, Hoxha established and broke relations with various socialist countries, including the Soviet Union itself. This brought Albania closer to China, but they also eventually broke relations. Its relations with the West was not good either. In fact, Albania was the only communist country in Eastern Europe that rejected de-Stalinization. The bunker on the banks of Mount Dacia is a clear example of what the communist dictator represented, his origins and his outcome. Hoxha ruled with an iron fist, and he wanted everyone to be prepared for any eventuality. He punished those who disagree and through education promoted communism from an early age. Perhaps due to all these disagreements, Hoxha was paranoid. Not only did he build multiple bunkers, but after his estranglement with China, he planned the construction of more than 200,000 bunkers for the population, and managed to build more than 150,000. Today, they remain scattered throughout the country as testimonies of his government. Being here gives you an inexplicable, nostalgic, and bizarre feeling. Seeing how people lived at that time makes you value being born in a place and time where this was not the norm. Leaving the Bunkart 1 museum, you take the opportunity to explore some of the Dacia mountain. The place is kind of dirty, a situation that you will find throughout Albania. Hiking around on the mountain, you find other bunkers, but they are sealed. Finally, you find an open one. It is kind of a hangar, and possibly it is connected, or it was planned to be connected to other bunkers. These places are fascinating and terrifying at the same time. There is another bunker museum in the center of the city. This museum specializes in the activities of the Sigurimi, a secret police agency during the communist regime. The goal of this organization was to prevent revolution and suppress any opposition to the regime. The Sigurimi focus exclusively on detecting any political opposition by any means necessary. Based on the KGB, espionage was routine. Their work meant that 1 in 3 Albanian citizens at some point served in labor camps or was interrogated by the Sigurimi. Its members were privileged, which kept them faithful and diligent. The organization ceased to exist as such in July 1991 and was replaced by the National Intelligence Service. The isolation that hoxha caused, even accusing China of compromising its ideology by seeking to agree with the United States, caused the country poverty as well as a lack of knowledge about the outside world. Hoxha's death was perhaps another nail in the coffin of communism. His successor, Ramiz Alia, sought to open the country to the international community in numerous ways while staying in power. But the footsteps of the revolution were already beginning to sound. By April 1990, controls had been sufficiently relaxed in neighboring countries, especially Yugoslavia, and there were protests led by young people in Shkodra, who were joined by workers from the industrial zones demanding better living conditions. Such demonstrations continued throughout 1990. In parallel, the Alia regime began to grant certain freedoms to the population. When the government relaxed control over access to information from abroad, the demonstrations grew rather than diminished. And from December 1990, the student movement became radicalized, demanding political changes along with economic improvements. In February 1991, there was a massive student hunger strike in Tirana, and in that city, the main statue of Enver Hoxha was pulled down by university protesters, in imitation of similar events in other communist countries. Not only remnants of communists remain, such as the pyramid built to honor Hoxha after his death, or the neighborhoods that were previously accessed only to Communist Party officials. Albania is a country full of surprises.